How do you love yourself without guilt, right? Is always the question I think I see a lot of women go through, especially later on in life, or just like as an adult. I think a lot of you're a kid, you don't see things, and all of a sudden the childlike ways get out of the way. But if this is you and you're questioning, how can I love myself without guilt? How do I have self-worth? How do I stay in my feminine as a woman? And how do I have that growth mindset without having guilt or feeling any kind of like, oh, I should give it all to my kids or my family or my work, and there's nothing left for me feeling, or even taking care of your parents if you are in that place as well. That's just kind of one of the biggest things that keep popping up when I'm having conversations with my coaching clients and my friends and just with my own head. And so I thought this would be a great topic. I'm Alicia Soikawa, the Empowered Woman, and I'm here to chat with you about how to love yourself, how to find more self-worth, how to go into your feminine energy, and not in a way that's like a feminist or whatever, how that whole frame has turned out to be, but staying in your feminine that actually helps you gain your inner strength and moving forward in life and work and career and your passion and your purpose. And I think one of the hardest things people focus on is doing, achieving, getting to the next step, the next level, and also comparing yourself. We just had our kids going to the doctor's office for their yearly checkups, and the pediatrician told us right now more than ever, it's very dangerous because kids, meaning in their tweens, preteens, and the ones that have access to social media or any kind of media, YouTubes, whatever have you, they're seeing things in front of them and then they're believing what they're seeing is true. And now with the world of AI, we're seeing it more and more and more, right? So I think the biggest thing is, why are there so many high achieving women? If this is you, I'm a high achiever. It's thing that I always wanted to win. I always wanted to do better. If this is you, or you're always trying to get better, to growth, but you just don't feel like it's enough. You always feel like at the end of the day, you feel short, or you just like, I felt like a loser today, or I went through some stuff. It's one of those things that comes back to self-love. If we're trying to satisfy that piece, if I do this, am I going to be enough, right? And there is a psychology of self-worth that happens. And there's a great book that I did read by Jamie Kern-Lima. It's her second book. She wrote Worthy. It's beautiful because it talks about being worthy. And honestly, you're worthy because you're here. Like the fact that you're here, you made it, makes you worthy. You exist. You're here, you're breathing air, so you're worth it. And it's just looking at like, what does that inner child want? What is the wound you're trying to heal? Because we're all navigating life based from the lens and the filter of how we were raised and how our environment treated us. It's the truth. I think everyone can say that. I've listened to many podcasts, read many books from psychologists, psychiatrists, behavioralists that talk about that a lot of our reactions, a lot of our behaviors and relationships are in direct reflection of how we were raised, went through schooling, our interactions as a young child. And even though you think you can leave it behind and have a whole life as an adult, it does stay with you. And so I think it's really important to understand your inner child, like where were you when you were a kid, and kind of revisit it, even if it's painful. Look at your identity and look at the conditional self-acceptance you have. Meaning, are you only willing to accept yourself if you do ABC? Is your friend group only willing to accept you if you follow suit with them? There's that movie that was such a pop culture movie, and they remade it, called Mean Girls. And this one character, Lindsay Lohan's character, decided to be in the popular Mean Girl group, and she basically lost her original self to join this group, to be in that group mentality, the pack mentality. And that's what you see a lot. A lot of people's individuality and voice goes away when you join the pack. And so something you have to question about that. Then there's a concept of self-worth versus confidence and versus competence. They're three different things. And in the Worthy book, there's a whole poem about what self-worth is versus confidence. And it's fantastic, highly recommend it. But it basically talks about, at the very end, I love it because it says self-worth is the foundation and confidence is the house you build on top of the foundation. And competence, I would say, is a skill that can be learned. Like competency and competence can be learned and added on at any point, but confidence and self-worth is something you build over time and is gradually built upon itself. And just because you have competence does not mean you have self-worth. Just because you have competence doesn't mean you have confidence, right? So there's all different things. And there's a concept too that if you have confidence, then you have authority. And when you have authority, you speak with authority. I think I speak with authority because I have confidence and I have self-worth. Although I do struggle with the doubts. Just because I have self-doubt and I question things doesn't mean that I don't feel unworthy of it. But there are days, we all have those days, we're all human. And I will confess on this video that I had to put my makeup on today. I had to get dressed. I've been dreading doing some video content because I just haven't been 10 out of 10. And I don't want to show up halfway when I do these videos. I want to show up 100%. And it's really hard for me to tell you these things on video if I'm going through a dark place too. But I know, as I always say, you're exactly where you're supposed to be. You're supposed to be learning something in that moment and in the challenge that you're in. As much as you don't want to deal with it, and as much as it's a pain in the ass to deal with certain challenges, it is natural to deal with it, and you have to face it. You have to understand that the experiences that you're given are for you, and it is on purpose and not to shield yourself and live in a bubble wrapped situation. I think that's probably one of the biggest concerns I face in raising children today. Is that I am a Gen Xer, and because we were thrown out to the wolves, I mean, we all make those jokes now, like, how did we survive? We weren't wearing seatbelts. There were no rules. There was just nothing. We just went out there and we hope we made it home. And now we have children that we track with 360. We have children that everything is done for them. They can't even make phone calls and make appointments. There's memes and funny videos about that. It's a little scary when you think about it, that we have almost disabled our children by doing too much, like the pendulum swinging back so much more, so we cannot help them, right? And so that's just something to kind of think about when you think about the psychology of self-worth. Where do you lie? You have to think about, why don't I have self-worth to kind of grow on these things? One of the things when I talked about going from self-worth is feminine energy. Feminine energy is a really hot button right now. And when I say that, there's so many women that work in their masculine. And when I say masculine, I'm not meaning that you look masculine or you talk masculine. It's just your behaviors. If you're the breadwinner, if you're the driver in the family, if you're the one making all the reservations and doing all the things and pushing everything forward and leading, that is a masculine energy. That's what I'm talking about. And you have to overcome that overdrive in masculine because you're depleting your feminine self. We don't even realize it's happening. That's where that adrenal gland burning is going. I am doing that now. I feel that. The days that I feel that I have to push and go into my masculine, I'm exhausted. I'm depleted. And so my body's craving going back into the feminine, being softer, being nurturing, like just accessing the grace and the flow. And it's not about everything being like pastel-y and what, it's just about not having to push and do. It's more allowing and acceptance, right? Surrendering. I love that word, surrender. So there's something to think about when you're looking at how do you love yourself without guilt? And where does that guilt word even come from? Like, guilt and shame are probably the lowest level energy that there is. So that's something to think about too. Like, if you're lying in that place, you have to think about what is it about that? And I highly recommend journaling. I've been doing a lot of free flow journaling recently, and it's helped me so much in breaking down, why do I go into that place? Why does my brain allow me to do that? So one of the biggest things to think about is looking at a growth mindset when you're approaching self-love and getting rid of the guilt and all the things with you. Looking at it as a progress, like some weeks will be good, up and down. It's consistency over time, right? Progress over perfection. There's no perfect. You may have a great day doing it, and then the next day may be horrible. Or you may beat yourself up one day and the next day you're better at it, right? It's this up and down till you get to the end. And there really is no end, or otherwise you're dead. And then affirmations, which then lead into habits, which then lead into the more worthiness. And reminders, I think a lot of it's just the self-awareness and being aware of what's around you is huge. The fact that you even have the awareness that you're feeling these feelings is a big, big step. People that are blind to it, I think that they're further away from the journey than you are. So congratulations, you're getting there. One of the things I think about is looking at whatever your action plan is going to be. What is your action plan going to be to move you forward in this self-love care? Everybody's version of self-love is different. You have to think about for yourself. What does self-love mean to you? Does that mean sleeping in? Does that mean not working out like a crazy maniac? Does that mean not saying yes to every single invitation that comes your way? Does that mean saying no to anybody that asks you a favor? Does that mean carving out 2 hours that you can go for your walk, so you can journal, so you can go have a quiet time and to go to the spa or go get your massage or do something that makes you happy? Like even coloring. I actually love coloring, and I haven't done it in a while. Things like that, like reading your books, watching your TV shows, like anything that makes you happy and smile and play. That's what you need to be working on. Okay. That's something I would put an action plan. Like, where are you going to go and put it in your schedule to make it a real thing that happens, not a pretend, like one day I'll get this done one day. No, when is it going to happen? What day, what time? How are you going to know that you did an act of self-love for yourself? And sometimes it's like chatting with a girlfriend and having lunch. I'm having dinner at my friend's house Friday. My dog's gonna meet her dog. We're the same kind of dog, a Shih Tzu. And I'm so excited because it's girl time. It's chat time. It's like giggling and catching up and what's been going on. And it's stuff that we don't have to put on the show with the men around, right? That to me is self-love. That's an example of that. And I think it's important to look in the mirror and look at yourself and point out the things you love about yourself, because we're so quick to be like, oh, I gained extra weight. I actually have gained some weight for myself. And I was a little bit beating myself up this week about it. And then I was like, you know what? My body is healthy. I don't have cancer. I have full function of all of my body. I'm not in a hospital. I'm not sick. And my clothes still fit me. Am I at my peak shape? No. But I've been enjoying treats in summer and drinks and dinners, and I've been working out, but not really. So what do I expect? Like, that hasn't been a priority for me. But if it is, then I need to make room in my schedule to make that a priority for my body, which I am doing actually. So that's why I point that out for you. And I'm just giving examples because I think I just want to point out how different self-love is for each individual. For some people, it might be volunteering, or for some people, it might be at a nonprofit that they love, or a passion project that they have, or it's writing a book, or playing a musical instrument, or gardening, or all those kinds of things, right? Everybody has a different opinion about what self-love is and how do you care for yourself. And I think it's important to also look to heal and figure out, where do you feel most feminine? If you put in ChatGPT, do a prompt, you know, if I wanted to be in my most feminine energy, what would be some suggestions? This is what I battle and this is what I do every single day, and I find myself in the masculine. Ask it for advice and see what it comes out specifically for you. I love using ChatGPT for those types of conversations. It gets to know you and gives you some insight, and it doesn't get mad if you're like, that's stupid. It doesn't take it offense. And you can spitball with it and talk to it on the talking app. Highly recommend, 10 out of 10. I've been doing it myself. So I would love to know, drop a heart if you're choosing to love yourself today. I hope so. And I invite you to subscribe to the channel, because it's kind of been evolving, but it's really now turning more into this coaching to bring you to your next identity yourself. Because like, so many of us are in between right now. We've left this old version. We're not yet where we want to be. And it's a very lonely place right now. I'm in that place. I feel a little bit lost and swirling. And as I take you along this journey with me, I welcome you to share your story. And I hope that going through it myself and me sharing is giving people insight and permission to dig deeper and say, I want more for my life. I want a different path. And you don't have to have that heart racing feeling. You don't have to have anxiety. You don't have to have depression. You don't have to dread the rest of your life if you're getting ready to turn 50. There's so much more out there, and you deserve it all. We all deserve it, right? We're worth all of it 100%. Until next time, stay empowered, and I'll see you soon.